wants to tell a story? What kind of story do you want to tell?
I want to tell a story about paper airplanes.
I want to tell a story about my band.
How about you? What kind of story?
I want to tell a story about a tornado. I want to tell a story about a toy. I want to tell a story about a science experiment. I want to tell a story about my dad.
But with every story, there is a beginning.
My name is Nicholls-ali. Digital storytelling is the process of telling one's personal story through narrative, video, and images. It's a process that happens in a room with about 5 to 10 people over the course of a 3-day workshop. And very often it's in this workshop that people get out their feelings, that they get out a lot of the stories that they've always wanted to tell, or the stories they tell very often but finally want to solidify it and put it into a form digitally where they can share it with other people. Besides the fact that I live on the same block, I've lived on the corner for about 10 years, and my husband's done work with similar group home around the corner. I've always wanted to work there because it's such a beautiful building, and because I know that there are kids there that need to tell their story.
Originally founded as an orphanage in 1888, 5 Acres, the Boys and Girls Society of Los Angeles, located in Altadena, California, provides treatment and education in community-based and residential programs to strengthen families and prevent child abuse.
5 Acres works to prevent child abuse and neglect, care for, treat, and educate emotionally disturbed, abused, and neglected children and their families in residential and outreach programs, advance the welfare of children and families by research, advocacy, and collaboration, and strive for the highest standards of excellence by professionals and volunteers.
Led by Executive Director Robert A. Ketch, 5 Acres is dedicated to helping families raise children to become caring and productive adults by building on their strengths and those of their families and communities.
I'm Bob Ketch. I'm director of 5 Acres. Well, it was one of these great staff members at 5 Acres who had heard about it. And, years ago, we started doing life books with kids because we wanted kids to be able to have a recording of their life, but also as a process to use for therapy. And so the idea of using digital technology, the computers and movie making and music and all of those pieces, putting that together seemed like it was a wonderful new opportunity and something that the youth can get really excited about because they're creating something that's kind of cutting edge. They're making a movie, and so that's it sounded like a great idea, and we started knocking on doors and figuring out how we were going to do it. And then magically somebody in our neighborhood, virtually down the street, was like an expert in it, and connecting with some other folks, we were able to begin doing it.
In July of 2007, a spark was ignited when the collaboration between 5 Acres and the Los Angeles Center for Digital Storytelling embarked on a digital storytelling adventure to provide a creative, therapeutic outlet to a group of youth who suffered from emotional and psychological troubles. The Los Angeles Center for Digital Storytelling is an international, not-for-profit community arts organization rooted in the craft of personal storytelling. They assist youth and adults around the world in using media tools to share, record, and value stories from their lives in a way that promote artistic expression, health and well-being, and justice.
The Center for Digital Storytelling is a nonprofit organization based in Berkeley, California. Our mission and our goal is to help people create digital stories so that they can get it out there to the public.
Digital storytelling combines the ageless art of telling stories with digital media to give emphasis and meaning to subjects important to the storyteller.
It uses digital media as a therapeutic tool to visually engage the storyteller and the listener in a way that evokes feelings and understanding.
Now I'll tell you my story. It all started when I was young. Since I can remember, I was always getting beat. I was always getting hit. Most of the time, I got hit for reasons that I didn't understand. Sometimes, she hit me because she felt like hitting something, and I was the closest to her. But I know I wasn't the only one. I know my brothers and sisters were getting hit right along with me. My mom was a drug fiend. That's practically all she did. It's like she didn't really care about us. It's like drugs meant more to her than her own kids. In my heart, I know that she cared. She was just so caught up with drugs that she didn't know how to control it.
From July through December 2007, Miss Nicholls-ali worked with the 5 Acre staff and 10 youth in care and conducted 2 digital storytelling workshops at the agency's residential treatment facility.
As I met the youth, because I think I was more nervous about which youth we're going to be working with, but once we met the youth and sat with them and went through their stories, it was another world that opened up. It's undescribable. It was just amazing. These kids, they have so much to share, and the look on their face was they felt alive, and then you feel alive, and you appreciate what you do so much more. It made me appreciate the job that I do more.
One day, my sister came into the living room and said, "I'm having a baby." The hospital said she's having twins. Oh, great. I told my mom. I don't know what to do. My mom said, "Go make the bottles." I said, "I don't know how to." My mom said, "Yes, you do. You know how to make bottles." I was frustrated because I didn't know how to make milk for the baby twins. So she told me, "Put the powder in the water, mix it together, and put it in the microwave." So I did that. So I took it out the microwave and shook it up. Then I gave it to the twins. At first I wasn't happy about the twins coming because I didn't know what to do, but now I'm happy about them.
There's a couple of the kids that I still do see from time to time, and one of them went through a really traumatic incident, and other ones have gone through real stressful, stages in their lives, having children, maybe a death in the family. One of them actually moved on to a group home situation. They're still living, and they're still coping. So I can only tell you, I think that telling your story at a young enough age, when you're in the system, gives you an opportunity to really believe that somebody's really listening. And you could write it down and, hey, it's in DVD. Doesn't get better than that.
I got taken away from my parents because he always had fights with each other. One day, when we were living in a hotel, my dad kicked my mom in the head with a steel-toe boot several times. I jumped out in front of my mom so she wouldn't get hurt. The neighbor called the police after school. After this, I went to my first foster placement.
For me, it was such a challenge because I'm such the geek, techno geek, and trying to get the kids involved in the computer aspects of it, I thought was going to be such a challenge, but it really, really wasn't. Surprisingly, these kids, even the 10-year-olds, knew about PCs, knew how to bypass security precautions we put in, and they had a grand time. My most favorite memory was of one young woman who really got into GarageBand. I brought the Mac and a keyboard, and the kids were making their own music, their own background music. So the kids were just really going off on that. So to see their faces light up, to see the wonder of new discoveries was just so fundamental in the whole learning process.
You see, I'm unique. And because I'm unique, I have dreams of being a beautiful black queen who doesn't need your critique. You may think it's a fantasy, but it's my reality. My dreams of being a doctor, a lawyer, a musician, a scientist, a psychiatrist, a poet, whatever it may be, I still choose to be me.
I think they're very powerful, some of them. Some of the kids have shared way more than I thought they would be able to share. Some of them have gotten really in touch with where they've come from, with the tragedy of their parents' lives and their own lives.
I think one of the kids, he was really shy in the beginning and not wanting to talk and didn't want to write a story. But once he started writing it on his own and then allowed you to edit it, it was just watching him feel more comfortable in the group. And that was pretty powerful.
Me, my mom, and my brother were coming from my cousin's house when a white Toyota pulled up on the side of the car and broke down the window. We heard loud popping sounds and we heard people yelling, "Get out of the car, get out of the car, they're shooting." We tried, but the seatbelts were jammed. My mom covers her stomach. She was 7 months pregnant. She got shot in the arm and in the stomach.
I have changed. When I came to 5 Acres, I was angry because I couldn't be with my family. It was hard to change, but I changed. I am not angry anymore. I dream of leaving 5 Acres and going to USC one day and play college football.
When I grow up and become an adult, I want to be a veterinarian and a teacher. I like animals. If they get sick or hurt, I want to help them get better. I have a dog at home. Millie is a little brown dog. We've had her for 3 years.
I've been in the system since I was a baby. At such a young age, I was going through battles like I was in a war, fighting for survival. Nobody understood my anger, my cries. Nobody wanted to hear me out, not even you. I got frustrated when I wanted to find you, but you was looking for drugs instead of me.
My social worker said I was too smart for drugs, and I moved to 5 Acres. I was bad sometimes, but the staff supported me. Everyone was proud of me when I graduated from school. When I moved to the group home, I got someone to help me find my family. I was patient. They found my family, and I talked to them on the phone every other day.
Chip nail polish on my toes. You see, I'm a person who's very self-conscious about my feet. But the thing that gets me the most is chip nail polish and not having my hair done. The reason for my self-consciousness, I feel that I am letting people into my interior domain. I have only given outsiders an outside to work with because I have sheltered myself all my life.
These 10 young people between the ages of 10 and 18 learned advanced digital and computer skills, created compelling stories important to them, and achieved compassion for their fellow human beings by listening and respecting stories of their peers.
They learned that they weren't alone in this world and they became more bonded. I think it's just a universal feeling. These digital stories just bring out a certain type of bondness.
I think it's a contagious thing. When you ask anybody to come on in and tell their story, whatever it may be, whether it be straightforward from the soul or a metaphor, and you say, I'm inviting you to come in, I'll be your audience, I'm listening. There's a lot of hungry kids out there, and their souls are waiting to have somebody listen. And it doesn't get better than that. I mean, that for me, working in this field, using all sorts of things to, different song and dances to get the kids motivated to either comply or change a behavior or get it through the next level, really build some coping skills. I definitely see that that's an incredible tool to use, a vehicle to help us get there.
We use film, we use drawings, we use music to get them to tell what they had to say. And they became close as a group amongst themselves, just like we did when we first started doing this whole process as well. It was such a fun time. It was such a fun time. They learned a lot, and some of the kids have gone on to do more positive things with their life.
As a result, 4 of our older participants asked to become team trainers to help out their peers during the next cycle of workshops.
The teenagers really surprised me because they wanted to continue the work with other youth, which I thought was really interesting. They wanted to continue working as guides and helpers for other youth that were going to come through the program. They thought it was very beneficial for them to tell their story and very beneficial for them to aid the next group of kids. So I thought that was really a benefit and interesting.
Using film, cameras, and music as a therapeutic tool, the magic that is digital storytelling lit a fire under 5 acres that will not soon be forgotten.
Well, the challenge is that we don't have enough money. I would be able to hire, if I could hire some folks just to do this full time. And no, it ended up having to be spare time kind of activity on people who already had a full job. But because they were so passionate about this, they have, took this on as an additional assignment or responsibility. And with that kind of enthusiasm, and seeing that, that tells me that the staff really love doing it and feel really excited about it. And we have a few staff who still, in their spare time, are still trying to keep doing it. But we just want to do more of it. Every child that we serve should have the opportunity.
That spark lit up the minds and faces of all that became involved in the experience.
It's a progressive modality that we're using, and a lot of people, because of the fad of cameras, DVD, all the technology, people want to have fun with it. And this is not necessarily a fun experience as in fun high, haha, that sort of thing, but it's kind of a life tool that you'll never forget.
It's again, part of the therapy process, the working through the grieving, the helping children and youth figure out who they are, where they've been, and that ego development is so important. So it's absolutely central to our work, and it's a great tool.
I think a lot of them want to move on and do other things with this. I think them dealing with issues that are important to them will always continue. There'll always be a story with these kids, with this population. There's always something that they want to tell, and many times the normal, so-called normal methods of sitting with the therapist and going one-on-one with tell me your problem doesn't work for a lot of these kids. With all this modern technology, this is their way of reaching out. This is their way of saying, listen to me, I have a story to tell.
Gail Nicholls-ali has a passion and a commitment to the digital storytelling process that runs through her soul.
Why I do what I do, especially with youth, is because I want them to be able to change their world with their voice and their art. And I do a lot of what I do for social change, so that there's a consciousness amongst youth about what's going on in their world. Their world we're leaving them this world, and hopefully they will leave us something as well. So that's why I do what I do. I love working with youth, especially when it comes to social change, issues of social change. And social change, people always think about this big, deal social change, like, we're going to change healthcare or welfare reform. I think what social change means is really just changing the perception of how someone sees you, or the perception of how you see someone else. And that is the first change for me.
From the staff to the youth and families, the stories and experiences shared by the youth are a testament of what these young people are about.
I have a story to tell.
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 And I have a story to tell.
Do you have a story to tell?
All I have to say really is make it happen.